I suppose. Trevor
Ready?
hit it, and I'll give it about 10 seconds or so as normal. And we'll go from there. Like I said, Chad will just bring my brother in, and we'll take out the Tree 50-second drill. Hopefully, we can get this done in about 50 minutes. Call it a night.
Sure thing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Tree 50 Fantasy Football podcast. Thank you for joining us, taking time out of your day or night to listen to this podcast. We're going to have some insightful topics, discussions about fantasy football, and at the end, we may have a small surprise come in and do some corrections for us. We'll see. But with me today, as always, is Chad Foster.
What up, buddy?
What's going on, Matt? And as always, our wonderful producer, Trevor Bells. And we may or may not have a hotline guest on our Bungalow Joe's Bungho hotline later. So we'll see how that goes. If we can get anything
I
going.
think he's having some equipment issues over there.
Yeah, well, they make medicines for that, but for this one, I don't think that that's going to do him any good. But
No can do.
yep, no can do. So how you doing, Leaguer?
I'm doing pretty fucking shitty. How you doing?
I'm doing better than you are. Huh?
I bet you are. I bet you are.
Yeah, I'm doing better than you are. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll start talking about last week's games. I know it's a sore spot for you, so we'll wait for that at the very end. But I will let you go first, so that way maybe we can start off on the right foot.
Okay, let's start off with a game that I predicted that our special guest, who's no longer going to be a special guest, kind of argued with me. I picked Kyle to beat Dustin last week, and Kyle did 145 to 134, and it was a close game throughout. But Kyle's team actually stepped up this week. He's had weeks where he scores less than 100 and weeks that he scores 140 to 180. This is one of those weeks where his team stepped up. What do you think about this matchup, Derek?
Well, Brandon Oliver came through for him, which is good. Steve Smith, the old man, still doing well. We were telling Dustin that he should start Andy Dalton, and he refuses to do so. And if he did, he probably would have won. But on the flip side of that, if Kyle would have started Cam Newton, then Kyle still would have won. So he kind of put that as a squash. But I'm kind of surprised that Kyle beat him, to be honest. I mean, 145 points is pretty legit, and they put you in the running for winning. So I'm not too sure how I feel about Kyle's team at this point in time, but Dustin's in trouble, man. He's on a slippery slope downhill, and he went 3-0 to start the season, and now he's 0 for 3 after that.
Yeah, your brother has been struggling these last 3 weeks, and part of it's Matt Stafford and Alfred Morris. They just haven't gotten going, and then he took a huge blow with Victor Cruz in his patella tendon, I believe it was, and he's out for the season. Only got him 3 points in this game. He potentially could have won if Victor Cruz was healthy throughout the game, but that's a big blow to his team. And I would have asked him if he was here, how he feels about that, just to see what he's going to do to kind of rectify that situation. But hopefully we get him on so I can hear his side of the story as far as that goes.
Yeah, BNC is having some type of issue. We may have to have him on next week instead, but we'll see. But yeah, he's in trouble. He's got injuries, or at least an injury with Victor Cruz. And Stephen Ridley. I forgot about that. He has Ridley as well, so he's going to be struggling for points probably here on out.
Yeah, definitely, and it's good for him that he started 3-0. He's still in first in the worst division, so he's kind of got that leeway to go. But it's not a good direction that he's headed, and it got significantly worse on Sunday. Let's go ahead and move on to another game. What game do you want to do next, Derek?
Let's do mine and Ryan's. We'll go ahead and get that one knocked out of the way. So no regrets. Versus I beat Ryan down. And, once again, Deshaun Jackson came up big for me. Phillip Rivers always did his, he's doing his thing he's doing all year. But D-Jack had only really a couple big plays. He only had 3 receptions, but they're for 115 yards and a TD. And Ryan's team just struggled, period. His 2 people that he can rely on was really Edelman and AJ Green, but AJ Green was hurt, so that's really what hurt him this week.
Yeah, you keep chugging along with your team, man. You keep pumping out the points. You're 5-1. Season's going great for you. A lot of it has to do with your Chargers. Minus kind of Keenan Allen because Keenan Allen hasn't really done much this entire season, minus one game. You had a good pickup in Antone Smith, got you 17 points. He always seems to find those big plays. They pass it to him in space. He gets a couple openings, breaks a tackle or two, finds the end zone. So he always gets that one play in the game where he just kind of breaks it wide open. And then you look at Jerick McKinnon on your bench. Jerick McKinnon had another good game. He went for 17 2 weeks ago, 14 this week. I think it's going to be another good pickup for you.
Yeah, I like them both. I have some options now, which is good. Also picked up a couple people for this week, which we'll go over later. But yeah, Allen hasn't done much, which is okay. Eddie Royal was a good pickup for me. Picked him up as well. It's Anton Smith. He had the highest fantasy points for the Atlanta Falcons, which if he was getting any love, it was from Matt Ryan, so it was tit for tat on that for Ryan, means he has Matt Ryan as his quarterback. So
yes, on the flip side, excuse me. On the flip side, looking at Ryan's team, his team it's good. It's just riddled with injuries. You've got Monty Ball who's out, Rashad Jennings who's out, AJ Green who's out, and then you've got Andre Ellington who's been dealing with an injury all season. And then today in practice, apparently Kelvin Benjamin went down with a concussion. Who knows the severity of that and how long he's going to be out? That to me, the health on Ryan's team is going to be the make or break whether he makes the playoffs and makes a run, or if he just kind of slides into that, I'm deeper and deeper hurting and going to be out of the playoffs.
Yeah, he can't afford too many losses before you get to that point there. So he's got a huge undertaking here with all his injuries. So I didn't know about Kelvin Benjamin, to be honest. So that's big news, and not in a good way for him. So he's going to need people to get healthy and get healthy quick.
Yeah, apparently I'd heard today that AJ Green potentially will play this weekend, which is absolutely a shock to me the way he went down, I guess. But hopefully he does. Hopefully AJ Green gets back in his lineup and provides that spark that he needs to get that train rolling back in the right direction. Let's see. Let's move on then.
To whatever football gods he knows, or whichever ones he prays to, because he's going to need some help. But yeah, go ahead and choose another one.
Definitely. Let's move on then to Justin's matchup with Krevin. It was a matchup of 4-1 teams, and Justin again this week kind of showed his dominance, 131-75. And I know you have to be feeling good because you were upset that Krevin kept scoring in the 90s and getting victories, and this time he puts up 75. And I don't know if his thought process was, I'm going to put up 70 points and see if I can win, or what happened there. But finally he got squashed, even though Eli Manning got Justin a whole bunch of 0 points, and then C.J. Spiller actually got him -1. Justin still had the victory by a large margin, and rightfully so. He has the better team.
Yeah, he does have a better team. I mean, we actually had more fantasy football points than C.J. Spiller this week, so we can hang our hat on that. Heath Miller didn't do much for him either. Yeah, we did. So we had 0. He had -1. But yeah, I mean, you don't know, and this is no offense to Krevin at all, but it's when they're in your division at that, and you're tied for the division record lead, and they don't really score over 100 points yet. They keep winning. There's nothing more aggravating in fantasy land than that. And then he puts up a 75 dud spot there to the top power ranked team in the league who didn't play well, and you still get squashed like that. Oh man, I was so happy. You don't even understand how happy I was. It was just, I was hee-heeing and ho-hoing and ha-haing everywhere in the household. I was skipping. I was pretty much skipping.
I can imagine. The bad thing is when you look at Krevin's team, you read these names like Doug Martin, Percy Harvin, Wes Welker, Reggie Wayne, and these are big-time names that they're not putting out the points. I don't know if it's the fact that they're just getting older. I don't know what's wrong. If it's injuries, I honestly don't have an explanation for any of those guys. It's just they're not performing. They're all on his team, and we'll have a segment later that I want to talk about the playoffs. But he might be a team that's on the brink of missing the playoffs, depending on what happens the rest of the season.
He very well could be. I'll tell you what's wrong with this team. Doug Martin, garbage water. Percy Harvin goes with Russell Wilson. Wes Welker has a concussion and gambling issue. Reggie Wayne's owed. Martellus Bennett, he's actually all right. Larry Darrell Donald Duck was a one-hit wonder. So, he was a huge hit.
As Danny as Danny would so eloquently put it, his team.
Yeah, very much so. Whoopee cushion time. So,
Yes. What's another game we can go to?
let's go to Trevor and famous Sanye. In this one, not even close. It's like we're beating a dead horse here with Trevor. It's if you don't have 150 plus points, might as well not even show up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the week that you played Trevor, whatever week it is that whoever plays Trevor, you need to score 180, and you wouldn't even feel safe if you're guaranteed 180 against him. And it's crazy to look at what DeMarco Murray did against Seattle. DeMarco Murray is getting a crazy amount of carries. Hopefully the guy stays healthy for the season, and if he does, I mean, Trevor's team is almost impossible to beat.
Yeah, well, when you have T.Y. Hilton putting 42 spot up for you, and then Cecil Shorts the third putting up 20, and he's been playing well this year. Even though his fantasy football points hadn't showed it, they got to get their quarterback going here, which they are. He's going to be a good quarterback with Bortles, but it's luck, and DeMarco Murray's his team. You need one of those two to have a bad week. Everyone else can, as you can tell, can just do a little hit and miss action, and he's going to just put up points. So it's very aggravating because I'm jealous, but his team is really good, and Sanjay didn't have a terrible game or anything, but it just wasn't enough.
Right. Sanjay absolutely had a respectable week at 116. I mean, he would have beat some other teams in the league. But when you've got Chris Ivory getting you 2 points, Andre Hawkins not showing up, and then you've got Julius Thomas, who's on pace to break all kinds of touchdown records. It's unbelievable what he's doing there at Denver. But Sanjay's fallen kind of in that hole that I'm in where you're 2-4. There's no way out. I mean, you feel like there's all this pressure on you to perform, and your team's just not getting it done. And you almost feel like there's nothing you can do. But he's got to get something rolling because the division he's in, Sanjay, it's still wide open.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if he puts in Jaquil Bell, or I think he gets Mark Ingram back next week, which will be good. So he's got a couple options there for running back, and Jamal Charles was on a bye, so he has really two decent running backs there, and you just then plant them in there, and then those 2 points and 0 point spots go away with 15 plus points, and that'll put him back in the game.
Did you just call him Jaquil Bell? How did you say that?
Oh, Jaquiz, don't care.
Joik.
What? Juke?
Joik. No, Joik.
Juke.
Okay, I'm done. Okay, what's the next game? Is there another game to go over here or not?
There is. It's a Meat and Danny.
A Meat versus Danny. Poor Danny. Do you feel sorry for Danny? 154-94. I mean,
no.
You get to a point where the guy is so bad, you almost have to feel sorry for him, right?
Not at all. Not to this effing a-ho. He deserves everything coming to him. However, I believe there's going to be some love coming his way starting next week with the injuries, which is what we'll go over later. And there's so many things that are at the same time that are coming his way. It's so unbelievable. If he makes a run at the playoffs with these injuries that have helped him out, or that should help him out, it'll be a miracle, and we won't hear the end of it, is the thing. He's done chalk this season up as a loss, which you're 1-5, you should. But things may turn around here for him. But they did in this game. He only scored 94 points. That's what he gets. So I love it. And Amit, he put up big points here again. I mean, he had more bench points, or the same amount of bench points as Danny had total team points. So Amit has a really legit team.
Oh, that's so sad. And I find it so funny that the last 2 weeks, Danny has benched Tom Brady, who would have gotten him a combined, I believe it's 64 points, for Joe Flacco last week and Teddy Bridgewater this week, who got him a combined -3 points. Congratulations, Danny. Good job managing your team. Yeah, looking on the flip side, Amit, like I said last week, he puts up points every single week. He just couldn't find a win. But this week he was facing Danny, so he could have not started half his team and still won. So good win for Amit.
Yeah, it is a good win. That could have playoff implications there for it as well. So I mean, he's 2-4, but you're not necessarily out of the woods because there's a lot of 3-3 people, and there's a lot of 2-4 and 3-3 people, and I think there's only one 4-2. So he's not out of it yet, but this is crunch time. You're gonna have to put a little run together here. So it was a good time to start that and against the previous champion. So we'll see how it works out for Amit, and like I said, I'm interested in seeing how it works out for Danny. It may be too little, too late, but you never know.
Right, exactly. It's going to be fun to watch as far as the rest of the season and how Danny's team does, because I agree that he's going to have some players now that start to pick up some slack, like Shane Vereen and Tom Brady's starting to find his stride. LaShawn McCoy showed up. So we'll see how Danny's team performs the rest of the season, but if you ask me, he's out of the playoff hunt. He's not making the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a safe bet there on that. But let's move on to the next game. And before we do, I want you to go over it there for me. I'll put in my 2 cents at the very end. But before we do, I would like to put a disclaimer out there. If there are any young underage children, there will be some adult language used in this next piece. So if you're going to continue to listen to this, do it at your own discretion. If not, you may want to turn down volume.
Yeah, so I guess that means you're taking us to my game, is that right?
Correctamundo, my friend.
Oh, that's awesome. I love going over this game. Let me preface everything I say, just for people who don't know what happened, to explain exactly what happened. I'm going into Monday night against Mr. Dustin Strange, up 15 points. He's got San Francisco's defense. There's a possibility that he beats me. San Francisco's only reached 15 or more points one time this season. That was the first game of the season. The defense have been struggling because of injuries and suspensions. So going into that game, I was confident I was going to win, but not overly confident. So I started watching the game. St. Louis reels off 2 quick touchdowns. I'm like, all right, I'm good. So going into the fourth quarter, I'm up by 7 points. San Francisco has the ball, chance to run out the clock if they get a first down. And, of course, they don't get the first down. They come up a yard or 2 short, so they have to punt. They run the clock down to 1:12 and punt. St. Louis takes over the ball. Austin Davis throws a pass. It's batted down, whatever. Under a minute to go. So I'm thinking to myself, as long as he doesn't get sacked and they pick up a fumble and run it into the end zone, I'm good. As long as he doesn't throw a pick and they actually take the time to run it back all the way into the end zone, I'm good. Because usually if you throw a pick in that time of the game, they just fall down, they kneel down, and game over. So I'm up 7 points. If he gets a pick, 2 points. Touchdown, 6 points. What's Austin Davis do? Congratulations, Austin Davis. You throw a pick. And guess what? In stride for the San Francisco guy to run it into the fucking end zone and score. That's great. Ruined my entire season. I wanted to throw remotes and all that stuff. And I've got a couple things to say about this. You know what? Fuck fantasy football. Fuck fantasy football and everyone who plays. Fuck the fact that I would have beaten you, Dustin Strange, any other week except the week that I fucking played you. Fuck the fact that he scored more points than he has the entire fucking season. Okay, let me keep going here. Fuck Jordan Cameron, who came into this game with a combined 18 fantasy points in 5 weeks. Guess what he does against me? Scores 24 fantasy points. Go back to running a slush puppy, you fucking jobber. Fuck Mohamed Sanu and all the defenders for Carolina that couldn't cover him. 30 points? Check. Season high? Check. Career high? Check. You need to take up the family business, Mr. Sanu. Drive a taxi cab. Drive it right into the fucking police station where they can arrest your ass for being an asshole. Fuck you, Jeremy Macklin. Thanks for averaging 18 points a game and then give me a season low. 3 points. When all I needed was 5 fucking points. 5. And don't give me that as long as we win bullshit, because that shit don't matter to me. Fuck the fact that I've lost 2 games this season by a combined 3 points. Fuck Dustin Robinson. Fuck him for scoring a season high against me in week 1. You can't win a game all of a sudden. And of course, Matt Stafford scores 37 points, another season high. Guess what? Against me in week 1. Give me a fucking break. Fuck Andre Johnson. Fuck him for having the same last name as Calvin. Fuck me for being someone who is invested too much, who cares too much. You know what? Fuck that. Fuck the people who don't give a shit and then they end up winning. Fuck anyone who listens to this podcast. Here's a hint. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Find something better to do with your time. Fuck the remote control that I crushed in my hand after he scored from that pick six. You didn't work half the fucking time anyways. Fuck everyone's fake sympathy, pretending like they give a shit. Nobody cares about their own team, but yourself. Nobody cares about your team. I realize that. We're all on our own in this horrible, nightmarish ride, otherwise known as fantasy football. Fuck the so-called fantasy football gods sitting on their golden goalposts laughing as I lose in humiliating fashion week to week. Here's two fingers high in the fucking sky. Fuck the injustice that is fantasy football and all the energy it bleeds from me every single week. And most of all, fuck me. Fuck me for giving a shit. For drafting this team that likes to come up 1 point short. This band of misfit fucking losers who have their heads stuck so far up their ass that the sound of a fart would blow out their fucking eardrums. Fuck my season. I'm done. Apparently I like to lose. All this judging by my record these last 2 years, yep, I guess I do. I like to lose. Fuck yeah, it's the one thing I'm fucking good at. Fuck this shit. Fuck fantasy football. I'm done. I'm out. No more for me.
Well, thank you. That was actually good insight. I don't really know what I should say right now. You know what? I think this is what we'll do. I think we do have our special guest here. We'll move on to. I would like to bring in our guest on the Bungalow Joe Bungho Hotline, and that would be my brother, Dustin D-Rob Robinson.
All right, you're good. Go ahead.
And we're going to go to the hotline here. We got a hotline guest on our Bungalow Joe's Bungho Hotline.
Yeah, and I'd like to introduce him. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you, hailing from Ponderland, he is a former cage dancer from Savannah. He will lowball your gold, mark it up, and make it sold. He's a former league champion that followed that season with an impressive 3-10. His rap career went from ultimate dissing to ultimately missing. He's currently on an incredible 3-game losing streak, holding a 3-3 record. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you, Dustin Dinner Date Dictator Robinson.
Talk dirty to me.
How's it going, baby?
If you could only see the dance that I'm doing right now, you would think of Trevor.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, I'm doing it now.
Is that called the Spider-Man?
No, it's called the Trevor. Everybody do the Trevor.
The Trevor Man.
Everybody do the Trevor. I like it. So whoa, whoa, whoa.
Butt hurt much?
So we just went over last week's games. Chad had an epic rant. It's awesome. This should almost be a video in of itself.
I did get to hear some of the rant, even though I got in at that point. I didn't want to talk, and that's why I muted myself. And then I couldn't find the unmute button, but I found it, and we're good to go.
Usually the unmute button is right in the same place where the mute button is.
If you only knew the trouble that I had to go through.
We experienced it. We've seen you go in and out of this chat more than... So we're moving on. We're going to go over this week's power rankings. I don't know if you made any power rankings on your own. Me, Trevor, and Chad will do our own separately, and then we'll just kind of condense with an average, and then mark it 1 through 12 that way. Do you have one by chance for yourself?
I don't have the 1 through 12 power rankings just because, to me, we only need to talk about the top 3 teams in the power rankings. Everybody else is just, they're in the mix right now. They're not really doing anything, including myself, unfortunately.
Well, that's fine. Well, then we'll do ours, and if you have any opinion on it, feel free to say what you need to say on it, and if you don't, then just shut the hell up and sit there. But we'll go 12-1, and Chad, if you want to do the 10 through 12 here, or 12 through 10, then
Sure, absolutely. This week, still ranked at number 12, we've got Mr. Danny Mays coming in at 11. We've got Sanjay, who fell a few spots, and then Kyle coming in at number 10. He actually moved up a spot from last week. Danny's still in that first to worst.
yeah, and he's going to remain that way for a while. Sanjay, him and Amit have been close to each other. Amit pulled away from him here this week with a win, but yeah, it's Kyle. He played well as well. Played good as well. So
Danny's team, he thinks it's going to turn around, and maybe he can. His silver lining this fantasy football season might be keeping other people out of the playoffs. So I think that he thinks his team's going to turn around. Some injuries have happened. Tom Brady's been playing better. What do you guys think?
I think that he actually might get another win, but he'd still be the worst champion ever to the follow-up season. I think that's what's going to happen. That's my prediction.
and possibly so. We'll see how it ends up playing out. We can discuss this team a little bit more here when we go over the Week 5 matchups. But going 9 through 7 here, we got a meet at 9. We have we have Amit at 9, Chadwick at 8, and Dustin Strange at 7. And I think Strange moved up a little bit.
Yeah, Dustin moved up from 10 to 7 last week, and that was his big win, and he put up the most points he's put up all season this week. His team actually looks like it may be starting to turn it around. We don't know how long this A.J. Green injury is actually going to last, so that obviously ups the value of Mohamed Sanu. So his team could be actually coming around at the right time, and he'll have to prove a lot this week when he plays Ryan.
You know, I was all out on Marshawn Lynch this year. One thing Matthew Berry said is, I'd rather be a year too early than a year too late. Marshawn Lynch, to me, I just don't think his team's going to do anything. I think it was kind of a lucky week, the Sanu thing. I don't know. I just don't see his team being. It's better than the power rankings this week. I don't see it getting any better, though.
Well, let me tell you something, Sanu, that you may not know. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Is that Dustin Strange made up some very key pickups from week 2, I think it was, until now. So over his past few weeks. And his team, it seems like, is progressively getting better. I think he's going to be one of those guys that sneak in. He's 3-3 now, so, I mean, he's obviously trending upwards. Chadwick has ran over some bad luck here, so he's been kind of going down. Amit, kind of the same way. Scoring a lot of points, kind of the same way with Chad. Scoring a lot of points, just ain't winning, even though he won this week. But that's your 9 through 7. Chadwick, you want to go through 6 through 4?
Well, if I can make a quick point, Sanu's been pretty consistent all season. His 30-point game, now that might have been an aberration, but that I think in fact was due to just A.J. Green being out. But I think Sanu can, on a weekly basis, get you anywhere from 15 to 20 fantasy points. I think that's what he's done all season. And he won this game and scored 143 fantasy points with Marshawn Lynch only getting him 7, which was a season low. So I think Dustin's team's starting to turn it around. Now 6 through 4, we've got Dustin Robinson. You're coming in at number 6. Mr. Ryan Cornell, 1 spot ahead at number 5. And we actually have Krevin ranked at number 4. What do you think about that, Derek?
Well, I think Krevin should be lower. I know he has a 4-2 record, which is better than the people that are below him, but his team doesn't score points. I mean, it's just, that's what it boils down to, more than anything else, is you got to score points, and they're not doing that. But you and Trevor had him higher, so it is what it is. Ryan's team is hit and miss right now, and it is got some injuries on it, and then my brother's team's they're playing like crap, so.
Right.
Well,
Dustin,
my team is, you can say playing like crap. I'm going to tell you something you guys might not know. My team has actually been scored on the second most out of any other team in the league. The top is actually Danny. Danny's been scored on more than I have. So here's something kind of interesting. I'm at the top of my division, being scored on the most, and actually scored my myself the least. So I consider myself very lucky and very unlucky at the same time. I also lost two good players for the rest of the season, Victor Cruz and Stephen Ridley this week. And Darren Sproles is out at least 1 week, 2 weeks. Not for sure how long he's going to be out. I really wanted to get Andre Holmes in the waiver wire, but I was only able to get Jason Morrow. So
you're going to lose again, is what you're saying.
I'm definitely not saying that at all. We'll talk about my matchup here in a little bit with a host with the least.
All right. Well, I'm going to move on to 3-1 here. 3 is myself. Number 2 is Trevor. And number 1, Justin King once again.
Once again, Justin King reigns supreme and number 1 atop the power rankings. Trevor's right behind him, and if Justin happens to find a loss, I don't think he will this week, but if he finds a loss in the near future and Trevor keeps winning, I think these will shift. Same way with you, Derek. You just keep bumping out wins, man. You're having a great season so far.
Hey, man, the angels, they're falling from the heavens, and they're just raining me with so much love right now. I don't want to brag too much.
It will not continue. It will not continue. I promise you this. I will make a bold prediction here in a little bit. Now, Justin's King being first on the power ranking, I know you guys have a system. Justin has only had 622 points scored against him all season, which is the least by quite a bit. Actually, it's even less than Krevin Emmott. So now he has scored a pretty decent amount, but I think anybody who had the schedule that he's had could have a very successful record.
Yeah, that's true, and I was arguing the point with him earlier that if I had played Justin every single week through week 6, I'd actually be 3-3, and he'd be 3-3, obviously. So a lot of this is schedule driven, but when you look at the points, he scored a lot of points this season. And then you look at his record, he is 5-1. I mean, it's hard not to rank him where he's at.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, if Trevor, I almost put Trevor at 1 just simply because he scored 160 points or more again. Justin kind of had a bad week. I think my brother just fell down some stairs, but
let's think. I don't know what the sound was. Let's think about this also. Justin is still a little uneasy at 2 positions, in my opinion, which is quarterback. He's going to be choosing every week. Who's he going to start? Eli Manning, or is he going to start Kirk Cousins, or when RG3 comes back? And his second running back position has gotten a little worse. I mean, he has C.J. Spiller, who's not really doing much. Got him -1 last week. And all he has is Bernard Pierce and Brandon Bolden. I did pick up Brandon Bolden, but it still remains to be seen what he's even going to be, if he's going to fill in for Stephen Ridley or how that's going to work out.
Like you were saying, Dustin, he did have an injury that will impact the rest of the season, and Noshawn Moreno, I believe it was his ACL and MCL tear, that he's going to be out for the rest of the season. So to try to take the place of C.J. Spiller, he really wanted Moreno, obviously, to come back sooner rather than later. So that's going to be a huge blow for him because Spiller's he's not productive.
Yeah, he's, well, you should know this from last year, Chad. I mean, he missed, and this year he's missed a lot. He's fumbled a lot, too. But if you want, we can go ahead and they can lead us in to our next segment. But before we do that, go ahead and take a quick break here, and we'll be right back. And this segment is brought to you by Cornell Shirts, making Ricky Martin shirts look lame since 2000.
I think he may actually still own some Ricky Martin t-shirts. I'm actually pretty sure he does.
Hey, don't judge the guy who goes out in a Ricky Martin t-shirt and picks up, or used to pick up, women, all right?
not judging. I'm just pointing out a fact. There's a difference between judging and stating facts. This is just stating facts. Ryan loves his Ricky Martin T-shirts.
Hey.
Is Derek still here?
Derek?
Bye-bye.
42 minutes of silence. Nobody's saying.
Oh, that's not good. I have my mic.
That's great.
What is going on, guys? Jeez.
It's you know what it is. It's all your fault. You got us off to a bad start. So did I not say you didn't hear anything during the whole Ricky Martin thing?
No, we heard nothing.
Jesus Christ. Do it again. Here we go.
Look, don't you know it's about 38 minutes past Dustin Strange's bedtime. We can't just keep him up this late, all right, guys?
Hey, Dustin, don't you have like a dinner date to get to or something? Or maybe like some...
Nice.
Well, oh, wait, you have dinner to make at like 2 a.m. I gotcha.
Yeah, no, you're jealous. I heard the jealousy.
Podcast. This needs to be on the podcast. Unedited version.
You need podcast outtakes. That's what you need. Like just get a whole season of it, and then at the end of the year, make just a whole podcast of outtakes.
That would be awesome. I would listen to that.
That's actually a good idea. Okay, let's hear. Let's for real take.
Do it again. Hey, don't mute your mic, dummy.
Yeah, well, okay, thank you. I usually do when I was. Anyways, go ahead, ready.
All right, ready?
Yeah. This segment is brought to you by Cornell Shirts. Making Ricky Martin shirts look lame since 2000. Call 1-800-LIVING-LA-VIDA-LOCA for all your Ricky Martin Cornell shirt needs.
I think Ryan actually still owns a Ricky Martin shirt. I'm pretty sure he does, actually. I wonder if he still wears that.
You know what? I don't think you should judge a guy who used to pick up women in Ricky Martin T-shirts.
I'm not judging. I'm just stating facts. No judgment here.
Well, if he does, he needs to wear one to a Sunday football gathering. That'd be pretty good there.
Now, does he have the Ricky Martin dance moves?
Moving on to Week 5's matchups here. Well, we left off talking about Justin and his team, so we'll go ahead and go into the Week 5 matchups, which brings our co-host right into this as well with Chad and Justin. Chad, we said Justin had some injuries here. Does it make you feel any better about this week's matchup?
Hell no, my team's terrible. I will lose. What's the highest that Justin scored all season?
204.
He'll probably score 225 this week. Yeah, so mark it down. 225 this week. I'll probably score then 224. He'll probably beat me on a last-second Hail Mary where the quarterback punts it into the end zone 80 yards and is tipped off some guy's helmet, bounces off the goalpost into the end zone. Somebody catches it. I lose. That's guaranteed. Basically, what's going to happen? I lose 2-5. I'm done. I'm done with fantasy football.
That sounds a little extreme.
Just a tad bit. You'll be in the running. It'll be a close game, as long as Justin scores under 160. If he hits over the 160 threshold, then yes, you're done.
Here's what I like about your matchup this week is the Dwayne Allen and Jordan Reed have become very, very great targets for both of those quarterbacks. And now Lamar Miller has all the chance in the world to be back for Miami. And he's been doing pretty decent anyways. And then Ben Tate, of course, we know Ben Tate is talented. Can he stay healthy? He stayed healthy last week. Well, look what he did. He can do it again. I like it. I like your matchup way better this week against Justin.
In all fairness, as I was talking earlier, about when I talked to Justin, if we had played each other every single week up to this point, we'd be 3-3. So I called this our Game 7. This is our Game 7 match. And you're right with Jordan Reed. He was actually one of the most targeted wide receivers / tight ends all of last week. And then Justin went out and picked up John Brown, which against Oakland, that could be a good matchup. And I went out and picked Devontae Adams, so we'll see what happens there. He's got some holes with his quarterback position and then C.J. Spiller. But likewise, I've got some holes as well with Pierre Thomas It's just I don't feel comfortable with my team because I feel like the max I can put up is around that 140 mark, and I feel like his team could easily surpass that 140 mark if a couple guys go off, which absolutely the ability to do for him.
Well,
So is there a reason that you're not starting Ronnie Hillman?
He plays San Francisco. I just don't have a good feeling about it.
we were talking about Justin on who you should start, whether Eli or Cousins, and you have to start Cousins. It's a given. He's ahead. That very first game that he came in, he only had 5 points. Okay, so you can chalk that one up. That didn't count. Now against the Giants, he didn't do well at all, but he's had 22 or more points for the rest of the time, which is really good in comparison to Eli, who's only had one game higher than 20 points this year, and that was his 41-point shellacking that he put on Washington. So you have to start Cousins. He throws interceptions, but he throws touchdowns, and he has a lot of yards.
Yeah, with all that said, I still think I'm going to lose. I'm going to pick Justin to win. He'll go 6-1. I'll be 2-5. What about you guys?
I'll say Justin wins, but like I said, I think it'll be close. I think it'll be within 10 points, which doesn't mean much because you still lose, but I think it'll be close.
In reality, I hope you do lose because we're in the same division here, and I'm on a big losing streak. But I do think you're going to win this week. I think Justin will take another loss.
Hope you're right, sir.
Go ahead and choose the next game.
Okay, let's see. Let's move on. Since you chose my matchup, let's go on to your guys' matchup, the Battle of the Brothers. Now serving guinea pig and dinner date Dustin. I can't wait to see this one. Are you going to get that second loss, Derek? Is Dustin going to turn it around this week?
Oh, he very well could. Will he? I don't think so. I've been confident in my team ever since week one, even though I didn't score a lot during week one. But I've made some key accusations. Help me out here.
Accusations.
There you go. Accusations. Is it? It felt like you were
acquisitions.
Acquisitions.
Yes, thank you.
What are you accusing him of?
Yeah, accusation. How dare you?
I'm accusing him of wrong word.
Yeah, I was struggling, and you just pushed me off the damn ledge and didn't help me out at all. So, but no, back on topic here. It's going to be close. It's going to be, the line for the projection has him a 6-point favorite. I know you can't really go by those, but we always do just to kind of see where we fit in. But it's going to be close. Eddie Royal's going to be my question mark. I don't know if he's playing or not. If he doesn't, then I got backup. So I feel pretty good.
Derek's team is very, very heavily San Diego goes, and Kansas City's pass defense is actually 7th in the league, only allowing 212 yards per game passing. So I really like that his team is still relying on that passing game going up against Kansas City. Now, for me, I've kind of turned into a team tight end. So this week I'm starting Gronkowski, Olsen, and Jason Morrow. Jason Morrow, I've been telling people about him for about 3 months now, and I still think he's going to be Rookie of the Year. I think he's about to turn it on. If you guys didn't know, in college last year, he set an NCAA record for the most yards ever by a tight end. All right, and he was second all-time for receptions in one season by a tight end. This guy's good. They finally used him last week. He had 10 receptions and a touchdown. He's trending upwards. My team's trending that way as well.
Are you serious? You're 0-3. You're trending downwards in your last 3 games. You have the longest losing streak right now going on in the league. You're not trending upwards. You're delusional. It's the longest losing streak versus the longest winning streak.
I see what you're saying there, but what I'm trying to say is Gronkowski's back healthy doing his thing. Olsen's an every week person. Andre Johnson just got back on his feet. Giovanni Bernard is one of the best fantasy players in fantasy football right now. My biggest issue is my quarterback, and I still don't know who to start this week.
Yeah, well, even if we told you, you still wouldn't listen to us. And Jay Samaro will probably he wasn't good in the past. he's not good in the present, he won't be good tomorrow. You see what I did there with his name?
Oh, God, that was awful, Derek. Please don't ever do that again. Okay.
It'll
That was
happen.
really bad.
It's a weekly thing I'm going to do.
Let me throw my 2 cents in on this. I think this is going to be a really close match, and I know Dustin's kind of on a skid right now, and Derek, you're riding high. I think that turns around this week, and here's why. I don't see the Chargers having that great of the week, mainly because of what Dustin just explained about their pass defense. Eddie Royal, I don't even see him getting 10 points this week. I personally wouldn't even start Keenan Allen. I'd probably throw Jerick McKinnon in there. I think you'll get more points out of him this week. But even in doing so, I don't think you'll win, just because I have a feeling that Pierre Garçon is ready for one of those Pierre Garçon 27 to 35 point games. Gronkowski's been consistent. Olsen's been killing it. And then we know what Amaro did last week. We'll see if he can keep it up this week. Gio's been consistent. The only thing, the big difference to me in this game from what Dustin usually does is Matt Stafford. I think Matt Stafford against New Orleans this week is going to throw about 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, maybe 1 pick. He's going to throw up a lot of fantasy points this week. I'm actually going to pick, unfortunately, Dustin Robinson to win this game.
So, to go on the Kansas City pass defense thing, do you know who they've played so far this year? They've legitimately played 2 good teams. 2. They played Tennessee the first week, garbage. Denver, okay. And Denver didn't play well that game, if you remember correctly. They played Miami, garbage. New England, who wasn't playing good then. They've only been playing good of late. And then San Francisco, who they end up losing to. So there's like 2 good teams in there, and then that's it. So once they play the MVP for this year in Phillip Rivers, then it's just they're gonna rack it up. You see, it's no worries. I'm not worried about it. We can move on. It's good.
I can't rightfully pick you, not only because of the Kansas City thing, but also because you're still rostering Adrian Peterson and Sean Green. It's not a nope 1, it will be a nope 2. I don't know why those guys are still on your roster and you haven't dropped them. So for that simple fact, you ain't gonna win this week.
Adrian Peterson will come back this year.
I think you should make a bold start again with Sean Green like you did last week.
Hey, I was going to, but then he got hurt, and I'm not that dumb. So
Actually, he was hurt before the podcast, and that's where we need like somebody to come in and correct you, and this week it's me. So last week, Sean Green was hurt before the podcast, and when everybody heard it, they were like, why is he going to start somebody who's hurt?
Bubby, I like to be mysterious, keep things a mystery.
You're like the Bill Belichick of this podcast.
Yep, and my record proves it. Anyways, we've stuck long enough on this. I think we wanted to because we're the brothers. What's the next one there?
Let's see. Let's move on to a battle of 3 and 3. We've got Mr. Dustin Strange and Ryan Cornell. Now, I know I went on my little rant earlier in regards to Dustin. I have kind of one more thing to say about him. Listen, if you want to crown him, then you can crown him. But he is who I thought he was. Now, if you want to crown his ass, then crown him. But I'll let him off the hook. That's pretty much it. But no, is trending upwards. He's looking good with Jordan Cameron. Jordan Cameron finally came around last week. I think he's going to be more consistent in double figures. Marshawn Lynch was an anomaly at 7 points last week. I think this is going to be a close matchup, and I would normally, in this instance, pick Ryan to win just because I feel like his team is better. But with all the injuries and everything, I'm actually going to go with what I would consider a small upset and pick Dustin to win this game.
Yeah, it's like you said, Kelvin Benjamin's probably going to be out with the concussion. Of course, AJ Green is out there for him. Shaw Jennings, Josh Gordon's still in suspension. Lonnie Ball's out. It's just the list goes on and on for him. So yeah, I think Dustin Strange does win this game. I'm going to say he's going to win by 20 plus points.
I'm in agreement here. I think Dustin Strange will win also. So you know what that means, actually. That actually means Ryan's probably going to pummel Dustin Strange, and we're all going to be wrong in eating our words.
We're not wrong often on this show. All right, let me rephrase that. I'm wrong a lot. Chad is right a lot, so we kind of balance out.
It works out, right?
Yeah, that's what we're here for. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to say on that one. Ryan's got a lot of injuries. Dustin picked up some good people, and Dustin's going to win.
Can I ask who's actually doing this podcast from the airport?
Yeah, Bubby, are you gotten in a plane to park it?
No, I'm not. I'm just in my apartment.
Are you standing next to an air duct or a 727?
I mean, there's an air duct that's about 10 feet in the air and like 7 feet that way, but I don't know why. I don't know what's going on here. This whole podcast has been a little more difficult, and you're welcome for that.
Yeah, you're worse than Justin. Okay.
Oh, wow.
You're
Clarify this now. I'm not a worse guest than Justin. I just have more technical difficulties.
Yeah, you have the technology know-how of Justin, and you're actually a little bit more insightful than Danny because you have yet to spit in our faces, even though we're not in front of each other. So, maybe you're in the middle of the road. It's kind of tough to say at this point in time, but we do question where in the hell you're at right now. I think you're at the airport. I thought you already picked up Ethan.
I did. I picked her up yesterday. You guys saw the picture. I keep telling her not to post all that stuff because it's going to make all your wives jealous, and I'm sorry, but I am on the cover of Husband Monthly, and I'm trying to maintain that for next month as well.
Yeah, my wife's seen it, and she said, "Look at that fucking pussy," and she was talking about you. So. That sounds. No, I did say that. I said that.
Okay. On to the next thing. Let's move along here. Let's go on to Mr. Kyle Stansberry versus Trevor. Raise your hand if you think this game's going to be close. My hand's not in the air. What about you guys?
Nope, mine's not in the air. Dustin, I muted you because you're super loud, but I'm going to say you're not raising your hand either. I mean, yeah, it's not going to be close. Kyle scored 189 points at 1 week, but other than that, he hasn't scored over 150. I keep saying it. You need 150 to bring to the table just to be in it. I don't think Trevor has anyone on bye. I think his big bye week is in week 10. So it's going to be Rap City pretty quickly unless he just gets some monstrous production.
Okay, I just unmuted myself, even though you muted me. Is it still that loud?
Welcome back to the podcast from the airport, starring Dustin.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's so loud, but
okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
I was
after you're done talking.
Okay, I was raising myself, or I was raising my hand, but it was doing the Trevor dance because I think it's a Trevor victory dance actually, because I think he's gonna whoop up. So.
Yeah, Kyle's team kind of emulates Kyle. They don't show up on Sundays, and he won't listen to his podcast, so he'll never know I said that unless somebody tells him. So Kyle's team is probably going to score, if they're lucky, maybe 90 points. Trevor's team, score 150, take the week off. So Trevor wins 50 plus.
I like it. Yeah, there's no argument. There's some of these games where you could argue. There's no argument. We'll go to Crevin and Dr. Doolab there. What do we? How do you feel about that one? I don't think this is going to be close either, to be honest.
I don't. And as much as I want to cheer for Mr. Crevin, Amit's actually been on a tear points-wise. He's been putting up points for the last, I think, 3 or 4 weeks. You might want to check my facts on that one. And Crevin's he's put up, I think it was 189 1 week. But other than that, he's been extremely low point production, and I think that continues this week. I don't have a reason to think it's going to turn itself around. Martellus Bennett, after the first couple weeks of blowing it up, hasn't really done anything. Jared Cook, while he had a lot of targets, didn't do much with them. Larry Donald, the last 2 weeks, has 1 total point. Reggie Wayne, Percy Harvin, Trent Richardson. I don't have confidence in any of these guys. They might surprise me. I just don't foresee that happening. I think Amit's going to win. It's probably going to be a 30-point game.
I'm definitely in agreement with that as well. Again, I do not want him to win. You guys are in my division. You're literally only 1 game behind me. I guess since I beat everyone, it's actually more than 1 game. But, we all face each other again. So I'm hoping that Dick Doolab has a week where his players just do not perform.
Well, his team's been performing of late, and I mean, I guess it could happen because there have been instances, and it's probably league-wide, maybe outside of Trevor, to where we haven't had a great week. So I guess it's possible. But he's been getting some. He's got the number 2 back in the NFL, and Le'Veon Bell. He's got second most rushing yards in the league, and of course Matt Forte is still doing big things there at Chicago. Larry Fitzgerald finally showed up for him there last week, so that's going to be promising, especially heading into Oakland. So they'll probably do better than what you think. Like I said, I still think he beats Crevin, because is Crevin going to bring – this is the question. Is Crevin going to bring 100 points or not? I don't think he does.
I don't either.
So
I do not either. And guys, just to let you know, I've landed the airplane, so we're good to go.
yay, emergency crisis avoided.
Surely you can't be serious.
Well, I had some heat on. I got a little chilly in here, but you know what? I turned it off, and I just got myself a nice little throw blanket, and I'm good to go.
Make yourself
Okay,
comfy
Grandpa.
on the couch. And I believe, do we have one more game to go over, or is that...
No, I think that's
We
it.
have
I think
Sanjay's
now
game,
we're-
don't we?
Do we?
No, we didn't. Well, we'll just go over it real quick in case we didn't. Danny loses. What else? No, actually, no, we did. We know we did not, and this is what we did not, because Danny has a bunch of people in his favor on his team for injury wise. He has Odell Beckham Jr. because Cruz went out, Shane Vereen because Ridley went out, and who am I missing here? Fred Jackson because C.J. Spiller's out.
Well, Danny picked up Andre Holmes, and if he does not start Andre Holmes over Jarius Wright, somebody needs to smack him in his face, and Sanjay needs to thank him. There must be some type of bet going on, or maybe Sanjay threw him like $20 or something. You think something like that would ever happen?
Well, Sanjay would. Yeah, he would. I mean, a heartbeat.
Looking at Sanjay's team, I mean, I really, it's hard for me to pick against him, honestly, looking at Danny's team. I think Sanjay's going to win this week, as Derek would say, partly because of Jaqui Bell, or how do you say his name? Joqua?
Joqui.
Okay. Partly because of Joik Bell. We don't know the status of Reggie Bush, if he's going to come back this week or not, but Joik Bell did a great job in spelling him last week. Jamal Charles is back this week off of a bye week. I think he has a big week at San Diego. Julius Thomas is setting that record pace I was talking about earlier. I think Sunday puts up a lot of points this week, probably putting him around the 140-ish mark, and I think he beats Danny comfortably by 10 to 20 points.
Well, that's bold. I don't know if he'll win by that much, but Danny may even win. I'll go on a limb. I'm going to say Danny's going to win this week.
I'm going to go with Danny as well. Odell Beckham, I think, will have a pretty good game against Dallas. Justin Forsett has been on fire. So Danny's got some things in his favor this week.
All right. Well, that'll lead us into our next topic of discussion. We won't be on these next two too long, so there's not much to talk about. But Chadwick, if you want to update us on some injuries here.
Yeah, as far as some key injuries around the league, we've got Noshan Moreno that we mentioned earlier is out for the season with the ACL. Darren Sproles has a slight tear in his MCL. They said he'd be back after the bye week, so he won't be gone very long. Some season-long injuries. Another one in Victor Cruz, who tore his patella tendon. That was terrible watching him get carted off the field, and just in tears. The rumor is Jimmy Graham won't return until week 9, which is absolutely terrible for my team. AJ Green, they said, has a shot to play this weekend, which would be a huge plus for Ryan's team and might actually make me change my prediction if he gets put in that lineup. Mark Ingram said he's a full go to return this week. And then Coach Gruden actually said that RG3 will be the starter once he's cleared. So I'm sure Justin loves to hear that, considering how much he loves RG3. We'll see how that pays off. Kelvin Benjamin, as I mentioned earlier, sidelined at practice with a concussion. Then Ridley's out this season with an ACL, MCL. And actually, I read a little thing. He could be done in New England. That could be the last time we see him in a Patriots jersey.
That's interesting. I bet they don't like to hang on to people. That they can't fill, or they feel that they can't get production out of, or they feel like they're just overpaying them. there's no amount of production that could be out there besides Brady that they feel like paying for. So
Right, and he and Vereen were both in a contract year, and obviously Vereen's healthy and Vereen starting to perform, and if he performs well with Ridley out, then I don't see a reason for him to keep Ridley on the roster.
yeah, I can't say I blame you. But thank you for the injury updates there. So if anybody has those players in your lineups, get them out because they won't be playing more than likely. Let's move on to our waivers, and I mean I looked over it, and I mean there's some decent quarterbacks out there, but everyone's pretty much set in their ways for quarterbacks. There's really 2 players out there that I've seen that I wouldn't mind having if I didn't already, if I needed someone. One's Scott Chandler from Buffalo. He had a really good week last week. Granted, he's only had 2 good weeks so far, but there's not much on the waiver wires to choose from. And the other one is Kyrie Robinson. Now, New Orleans is on a bye, or was on a bye. They're playing Detroit this week. Graham, I don't think, is coming back until the week after that. That's going to be questionable. But those are really the only 2. There's not too much out there. There's some decent kickers, but like I said, between kickers and quarterbacks, everyone's pretty much set in their way. Other than that, we've drained the waivers pretty dry with the injuries so far this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Andre Holmes was the big pickup this week, and Danny nabbed him, and I think he'll produce. He's produced these last 2 weeks, and it seems like that he's Derek Carr's favorite receiver. Loves to get downfield. He's extremely fast, so that could be a great pickup for Danny, and possibly get him another win or 2 this season. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Derek Carr's a gunslinger, man, so that's a good matchup for them too. I picked up your boy Ertz just for some insurance, maybe see what he can do, and also picked up Lewis Murphy from Tampa Bay just in case VJack is hurt or goes out for his rib injury, but I think he's going to play. But Murphy gets a lot of targets. I believe you said that last week or the week before. He gets a lot of targets, so it's not terrible pickups.
Yeah, it's a great pickup with the potential of VJack's ribs. You don't know how that's going to linger. And like I said, he does get a ton of targets there in Tampa Bay.
Yep, sure does. But all right, well, we'll take another quick break here, and we'll be back with our Tree50 second drill. And this segment is sponsored by Hee-Ho Game. Did Mattel make it? Nope. Did Parker Brothers make it? Nope. Hee-Ho made it. Number 1 Frisbee game in the U.S. for 2014.
The Hee-Ho made game.
Hee-Ho made it.
That's a fun game, and a fun game to hear Kyle explain how it was made.
Yeah, it was.
Hee-Ho made it.
It is a fun game. If whoever listened to this, I don't know if Amit's played it or not. He may be the only one out of the crew that hasn't played it. Maybe Kevin Emmett, but it is a fun game. But Bubby, this is our Tree50 second drill. It doesn't last too long. Me and Chad will rapid fire. We'll go. We got 5 questions each. I'll ask one. He'll ask one, and as soon as we ask it, just go ahead and answer it however you feel the need. And I'll start first, and then Chad, you go, and we'll just do it.
That sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. Well, my first question is to you, Bubby, if you're ready.
Yep.
All right. Do you remember when a girl blew on the back of your neck in the backyard on her swing, mom and dad's swing? Do you remember her name, and what did you say when she did it?
I don't remember her name, but considering the time period, it was probably Amanda or Ashley or Jessica.
Okay. Do you think?
But I said, what are you doing?
Do you think waiting so late to spend money in the draft was beneficial for you?
In the long run, I do, yes.
You went 3-0 to start the year. Now you're 0-3 in your last 3 games. What's going on?
I'm still first in the division, and I've still beat all 3 guys into my division. I'm good to go.
What was it like growing up with the infamous DPD?
There was a lot of frustration because he likes it his way.
What happened to D-Rob, the dictator?
We don't know. That's actually unsolved mystery. If you watch on Saturday nights at 9 o'clock, you'll see it.
How are you planning to replace Victor Cruz in your lineup?
I did with Jason Morrow. Jason Morrow is probably going to get more targets and more catches than Victor Cruz would have this year.
How many times have you jammed your fingers trying to catch a ball?
So many millions, I can't even remember.
That's a good segue. How did you get the nickname Hands?
Well, if you want to know the true story, we were playing basketball in a YMCA league, and apparently...
What would
No!
a name be?
Well, I couldn't finish that story. I guess I can't tell. Huh? AFBB, Artificial Bubby.
Okay, who besides you wins it all in Kyle's league?
Justin, unfortunately.
All right. Well, thank you for being a part of our Tree 50-second drill. Those are usually fun. At least it is for me and Chad anyways. It puts you all on the spot because you don't know what we're going to say. So that was fun there. But we'll move on to our next one, which is our bold start.
Dumb bench.
Chadwick, go ahead. Start us over with your bold start, brother.
All right, the bold start I got this week is actually coming from Dick Doolab, Mr. Amit. Started Anquan Bolden over Cordero Patterson. Anquan Bolden got him 22 versus 3 points for Cordero Patterson. And the thing for me, I know he drafted Cordero Patterson thinking he's going to get him a lot of fantasy points, he's going to be a stud and all this. And sometimes it's hard to get off of that mindset that you drafted a stud and you want to start him every week, especially after he blew up in week 1. But it's good for him to actually bench him and say, you know what, I can kind of give up on this guy now because he hasn't been performing, and throw Anquan Bolden in there who actually put up 22 points.
Well, mine, I actually have a couple. Mine would be Justin, starting Eli over Cousins, because as I stated earlier, Cousins is at least going to get you 20. Eli, he can get you 0, he can get you 40. That inconsistency scares me. I want to at least know what I'm going to get. So that was that one, and then it was your boy, Danny Mays, starting Teddy. Bridge is flooding with water over Tom Brady. And the fact remains is that he let go of Flacco for Teddy Bridgewater, and Flacco threw for 78 touchdowns in the first half. So now those are my two bold starts there, because they went out on a limb for him. But
I could have swore Flacco only threw for 77. I don't know. You might want to check that. I'm not really sure on that.
May
Stat there, brother.
May have to look into that. What do you have for the dumb bench?
For the dumb bench, I've got also coming from the Doolab household, Mr. Famous Sanjay. He benched Joik Bell when Reggie Bush was out this week, and Joik Bell was going to be, no pun intended, the bell cow. Joik Bell got him 17 points on his bench. Chris Ivory, who he had in there, got him a whopping 2 points. So why in the world he did that, I have no clue, but that, in my opinion, is a dumb bench.
Yeah, well, my dumb bench is Tom Brady over Teddy Bridgewater. 42 points for Tom Brady, -6 for Teddy B. It's come on, Danny. He just chalked it up as a loss.
Danny's such a good manager. I want him to manage my team next year. Maybe they can lose by more than 1 point.
I do too. Danny would somehow, he could be the manager of the Cleveland Indians in Cleveland. I guarantee it. So, some people may only get that. And then my other one I have was Romo over Cam Newton. And the only reason I can't really say that I would probably have started Cam just simply because the Cowboys are facing the Seahawks, and Seahawks generally have a good defense. And Romo got him 19, which isn't terrible, but Cam got him 39. He's went berserko. So that was a tough one, but that was my second dumb bench of that one.
Gotcha. Well, that's all the dumb benches we have. What's our next topic there? I know we're running out of time, Derek.
We are. Last but not least is our roundtable topic. And best pickup of the season so far, I would have to put that towards Trevor with Brian Quick. He's done nothing but produce for him. Who'd you have?
Yeah, Brian Quick is one of them. He's averaged 15 points per game. Another one of them is actually yours with Eddie Royal, who's just behind him, who's averaged 14.3 points per game this season, which is amazing to get that kind of production off the waiver wire. Dustin, did you have one of the one that, in your opinion, is the best pickup of the year thus far?
I do believe that Andre Holmes will be the best pickup, but so far you guys pretty much nailed it on who has already been the best pickup. But I do believe Andre Holmes will be. I remember a couple years ago when Victor Cruz was that guy. I really believe Andre Holmes is going to be what Victor Cruz became about 3 years ago.
He could be, which is going to be left to be seen. But
That
if
would
it is,
that would be huge if he actually turns into what Victor Cruz did. Before we move on to the next topic, Derek, I would like to insert a little stat here, just to kind of reference something that I wanted to reference here the last couple weeks. The first week when I played you, Dustin, Mr. Robinson, you scored 151 points, which was a season high for you. If I had played you any other week 2 through 6, I would have beat you. Now the flip side with Dustin Strange, if I played him week 1 through 5, I would have beat him. But I lost the one week that he would have beaten me, which was this particular week. And I put up the third most fantasy points out of any team this entire season. Now, I can say all that and be like, you know what, I think I have a good team because of this, and yada, yada, yada. I can score 1,000 points but keep losing games. You know what, I won't be remembered as the highest point scorer, but as a fucking loser. Just like that famous quote, I don't know if y'all ever heard it. If a man builds 1,000 bridges and sucks one dick, they don't call him a bridge builder, they call him a cocksucker.
I have never heard that. And I've heard some things. I hang out with old men all day at my shop, so they have a lot of them, and I've never heard that one.
Well, add that to your repertoire.
yeah, splash them with some knowledge on that. I'm not even sure if I want to move on. That's a good one, but we'll move on to one last thing before we get to our new addition to the group. But it's going to be who's your bold playoff, who is in, who is out portion. Chad, I'll let you go.
Sure. For the bold out, I'm going to actually say Trevor, setting it 4-2. And I don't honestly know that you can say that's bold just because he's not putting up the points. I think he's been really lucky as far as who he's faced. I think after losing this week, he's going to go on that skid where he loses maybe 3, 4, 5 games in a row and actually just completely tanks the rest of the season and misses the playoffs. It might not honestly even be close. Now, the bold team that actually makes the playoffs, in my opinion, is Amit. He's putting up lots of points. He found a victory this week, so maybe when I'm starting to swing his way, and I think he overcomes Dustin, who's in first in our league right now, and actually makes the playoffs.
Well, I have two, and they kind of go hand in hand here. I think Trevor and my brother are the bold out. The bold in is you and Amit.
Well, I would obviously disagree with myself, but the bold out that I have is actually Derek.
Oh my God!
I do not believe
that's what you were doing. That's what
I do not believe your team is sustainable over a full season. I just don't. The bold in, to me, is not really that bold, but it's actually Chad. Again, you're only one game behind me, and we face each other again. And you're like you've been talking about this whole podcast. You've been scoring a lot, and it's because your team's good. So I think Chad will be in, and I think Derek will be out.
You know what? Every week, someone comes at me. Wow. They come at me, bro. People come at me, bro.
Wow.
And you know what I do? I stay calm. I keep calm, and I chive on. That's what I do. And I just win games, baby. That's all I do. That's what I do.
But you're about to not win this week. I am going to be the beginning of the end for you.
Oh, my God.
Dustin, if that happens, Dustin, the angels will fall from heaven and all will be right with the world.
I tell you what, not only am I going to be the beginning of your pitfall, when you're on a 3-game losing streak, when you go on a 3-game losing streak, I'm going to kick you off this podcast for a week. How about that? Let's make a bet or something.
That I'm not on the pod. You take my place for 1 week.
Yep.
That's fine.
Gauntlet has been thrown.
Is it the next 3 games, or is it just 3 games, period?
No, the next 3 games you will lose.
We're going to squash this real quick after I win this weekend. I cannot wait. Oh, man, I cannot wait till the next podcast. It's going to be so much fun.
Wow.
I cannot wait. But we'll leave it there. and this is a gentleman's handshake, and that's what we'll do. If I lose the next 3, then you will take my place 1 week, and so we can really suck this up. But this brings into our next person who's going to be our base for this show. It'll keep us square and keep us straight. I'll bring him in. It's none other than Dustopedia himself. Going to correct us on some errors or stats corrections.
All right, thank you for that lovely intro, Derek. We've got some errors, some omissions, a little fact-checking for some of the things pointed out throughout the podcast. Derek, you had said that Larry Darrell Donald Duck was a one-hit wonder. He's actually averaging more than 11 per game for the season, aside from the 30 in week. You were correct about your brother starting Andy Dalton. If he does that, he would have been plus 14 and would have won the game. So maybe you need to listen to DPD on that.
Yeah, son.
You said we were going into week 5 matchups, Derek. We're actually going into week 7, so you're running 2 weeks behind on that.
Good call.
Chad, you had mentioned Justin's scoring peaks and valleys. His high for the season is 204, 99 is the low. So take that 99 as the low, and is that what, near Creven's high for the year? We're going on Kyle's absent team, along with his absence on Sundays. His highs for the season, 189 in week 4, 145 in week 6. Those were also his only 2 wins on the season.
Good call.
Talking about Ryan.
Can I interject
players.
real quick, Dustin?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So, what's his? How many times has he actually shown up on Sunday?
That would be. Let me check. Oh, 0.
0. Kudos, Kyle.
Hooray!
Kyle, 0. Are you serious? I mean, even I made it out, and I had Ebola and was out of the country for 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's running on 0, but he does have the NFL Sunday coming up in a couple of weeks, where he made a Facebook event of it. So we can all look forward to that. Moving on from ripping on Kyle, Ryan's players being out, we did actually omit that he's also missing Josh Gordon, but that's for a suspension, not an injury. Brian Quick as a pickup for Trevor, he's actually averaging just under 15 points on the season, but he only had 2 points this week against San Fran. And Dustin, your team may be heading in the right direction, but possible bad news. Olsen is questionable this week with an ankle, and he did not participate in practice Wednesday.
Oh man,
Nobody practices Wednesday.
Do you want to change your bet
Nobody
now?
practices Wednesday. No, I don't want to change it. All the stars don't practice Wednesday. Check it out.
You know, the funny thing is you need something from me whenever you, air quotes here, you win. I don't need nothing from you. You know what I need? It's angels coming, falling from heaven after I win. This is going to be so awesome.
Dustin, is that all that you had?
That is all, except one other thing, just on what Derek just mentioned. Is he talking about Satan? I mean, isn't that how angels fell from heaven?
Yes, actually.
So he's looking for hell on earth at this point.
Pretty
We do
much.
not want that, Derek.
No.
You say.
Well, Dustin, we appreciate you coming on and doing that, and we'd like to have you back to do it again if you're available.
Absolutely. You okay with that, Derek?
Oh, 100%. I actually enjoyed that. That's the best part of the show.
All right.
Finally got someone that could talk clear and knew what the hell they were talking about, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm not at the airport, so that, makes a difference.
No technical difficulties either, huh?
That definitely helps. Now Dustin's under the sink. But we don't drink the Drano, okay? It's okay. It's just fantasy football. You lose to me once. So
I think I know what happened,
before
actually.
we wrap up the show, is there anything that you want to say?
Yes, I would like to say something. Just read on the bottom line, Jody Meeks is out for 8 weeks. That's sad for us Kentucky fans and us NBA fans. So shooting guards keep falling. Paul George got hurt. Jody Meeks got hurt. Bradley Beal got hurt.
Beans, you're bringing up basketball real quick. I know this is fantasy football, but just real quick, I believe you and a couple other people are doing our first ever NBA podcast this Friday, right?
That is correct. Trevor will be producing and possibly chiming in a little more than he is on this podcast. And Danny will be the co-host with me.
Okay, that's scary. Danny's going to be the co-host. There's going to be a lot of sounds. So, but cool. Yeah, we look forward to that. And Chadwick, one last word?
Not really. I hate fantasy football. It's terrible. It's ruined my week. It ruined my Monday. I'm done. Ask me next week.
Okay, I will do that. And so we'll go ahead and end the show on that. So let's get one last little sponsor in here. I'd like to personally thank our guest for this one, Golden Treasures. They're #1 gold and pawn store in Southern Indiana. Call them at 812-284-4555. You'll find the gold. They'll pay you with treasure. Come back with us and join us next week. We should have another special guest on with them, and we'll talk about the topics and discussion as we did this week, go over the games, and may the best man win. See you all next week.
He-ho, made it!
Trevor, we can barely hear that music, yo.
Yeah, it's Google Plus is trying to make it 80% quieter because it thinks background noise to somebody's background noise.
Okay, I mean,
Don't try to blame it on me, okay?
I'm just saying, man. It was fine last week.
I know you can fix it and overlay it, so.
Oh my God! That seriously sounds like you're in an airport.
Like it still sounds like it?
No, you just did whenever I guess you had your heat or something.